Hello and welcome to this session of From Friendship to Marriage. My name is Bisong. I'm a family engineer, a marriage and relationship therapist, and the founder of Intentional Family Practice. I help singles and couples move from emotional connection to relational structure. Structure will keep your marriage. Structure will help your relationship move to marriage, because love alone does not build marriage. Structure does, growth does, preparation does. So today we are talking about accountability and a growth plan. If you are between the ages of 25 and 34, this conversation is especially important for you. Why? Because this is the season where you are no longer dating casually, but you are not yet married, okay? And this is the season where time starts to matter differently. You begin to ask deeper questions. Is this leading somewhere? Am I growing? Are we building anything real? Our anchor scripture today is Proverbs 21 verse 5. It says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." Now, this verse is not just about money. It's about life. It's about relationships. It is about marriage. Let's begin with accountability. Whenever people hear the word accountability, they mislabel it to mean lack of freedom. They see it as lack of opportunity. When many singles hear the word accountability, they immediately feel tension. It sounds restrictive. It sounds uncomfortable. It sounds like someone is watching you, so that when you misbehave, they will, come at you. But biblical accountability is not surveillance. It is protection. Accountability means your relationship is visible enough to be guided. And anything hidden from wise guidance is vulnerable to emotional deception. Now, let me say that again slowly. Anything hidden from wise guidance is vulnerable to emotional deception. Please put that down in the comment section. I would like to tell you a story. Chioma and Femi, they met at 27. They stayed connected deeply. Same church, same background, same humor, same dreams. They started spending most evenings together. It felt really natural, felt peaceful. But here was the problem. Nobody knew how serious it was becoming. Their friends assumed they were just close friends. Their mentors were unaware. They never defined anything in the relationship. So 3 years later, Chioma, of course, she's the lady, she realized she had built emotional dependence on someone who had never committed. Femi wasn't cruel. He just wasn't accountable. And because he wasn't accountable, he never felt urgency to grow. Accountability creates urgency. Without accountability, comfort replaces growth. If you are between the ages of 25 and 34 especially, this is really crucial for you. You do not need pressure, but you do need direction. So a lot of people wake up one day to see their besties giving them wedding cards without ever understanding why, because there was no accountability. Someone knows you are discerning marriage. That is accountability. Someone can ask, what is the intention here? That's accountability. Someone can challenge avoidance. Someone can say, I see patterns you may not see. That's accountability. So if your relationship cannot survive wise questions, it cannot survive marriage pressure. I'm sorry. Marriage will ask harder questions than any mentor will ever ask. So ask ask yourself honestly, does this relationship have structure? Or does it only have chemistry? You are just connected. You just like the way you feel. Are we accountable to growth or just addicted to closeness? Because closeness without development creates future disappointment. Accountability protects your future self. Now let's go deeper. Accountability protects growth. But what exactly are we growing toward? This is where a growth plan becomes essential. Now, your relationship can move to marriage quickly. That's not growth. Don't miss it. That's not growth. Haste is not growth. A growth plan becomes like this. Let me explain it. A growth plan is not a wedding countdown. It's not forcing timelines. It's not manipulating outcomes. A growth plan asks this question: who am I becoming in this relationship? And who are we becoming together? Because marriage does not reward attraction. You see this attraction that you didn't want to go into a sound relationship because you didn't have it. Marriage will not reward it. Marriage rewards capacity. You can love someone deeply and still not be ready to marry them. Growth prepares you for covenant. And let me tell you another story. Daniel and Ifunanya. They met at 25. They liked each other. But early on, they had a mature conversation. They said, if this friendship continues, it must grow us. It must grow us, So they paid attention. They noticed how they handled conflict. They evaluated how consistent they were spiritually. They talked about financial discipline. The hardest part of discussions in relationship, finance. They discussed family expectations. They checked emotional maturity. And every few months, they reviewed. Are we growing? Are we stagnant? Are we ignoring red flags? How healthy is your relationship? They did not rush, but they did not drift. By 33, they were not just in love, they were prepared. That's the difference. The difference was intentional growth. How intentional are you in this relationship? Not just you, the two of you. A healthy growth plan focuses on 5 key areas. First, spiritual growth. Are you stronger in your faith because of this relationship or weaker? Is it drifting you, drawing you to sin? Second, emotional growth. Are you learning to communicate clearly? Communication is the lifeblood of marriage. If you cannot, you will struggle. To regulate emotions, to apologize, are you? Third, character growth. Is responsibility increasing in this relationship or are excuses increasing? Fourth, relational skill growth. Are you learning how to disagree respectfully? You're going to have lots of disagreements so long as you're living under the same roof. So marriage will test conflict skills more than romance. Fifth, clarity growth. Are expectations becoming clearer? Or are you avoiding important conversations? No, let's not spoil the vibe. Growth is measurable. If nothing is improving, then you're not building. You are just bonding. And bonding alone is not enough. Now, let me address something sensitive. Many singles say, we don't want to complicate things. Avoiding growth conversations does not keep peace. You only keep silence. Please write that down in the comment section. And it delays reality. Proverbs 21 verse 5 warns us clearly. Say haste leads to loss. Drifting leads to loss. Unexamined relationships lead to regret. Growth does not rush you. Growth stabilizes you. This is the difference between the relationships that are intentional and the ones that are not. And I'll tell you as a family engineer, that you do not need a perfect partner. You need a partner committed to growth. And you must also be committed to growth. Because marriage multiplies whatever you are now. If you are avoidant now, marriage amplifies it. If you're disciplined now, marriage strengthens it. And it is that accountability you're running from that will keep you honest. So don't run away from it. Embrace it. A growth plan keeps you evolving. There are relationships that have made you go down, that has decreased you in character and other places. Ask, is this relationship developing my capacity for marriage or just satisfying my need for companionship? If nothing changes in the next 2 years, will I be closer to readiness or further from clarity? Those are questions you should be asking. Because these questions are not meant to scare you. They are meant to awaken you. You don't just go into relationship and you're just having it the way you feel. Feelings are fleeting. They will not help you to build a foundation or the kind of marriage that will stand the test of time or that will withstand pressure, because they will certainly come. So what is this relationship doing? How structured is this relationship? How accountable is this relationship? What is the growth plan? Are you avoiding hard conversations? Are you discussing? Are you focusing on the things that you need to focus on? Are you focusing on them? Now let's go deeper. It is one thing to grow. It is another thing to test what has grown. Because not everything that develops is durable. Some relationships look strong in calm seasons, but collapse under pressure. And marriage is not a calm season. Somebody should help me put that down in the comment section. Marriage is responsibility. Marriage is exposure. Marriage is partnership under pressure. So the question becomes, how do you know if what you're building can survive covenants? There are seasons in a relationship that reveal more than romance will ever do. Stress reveals character. Delay reveals patience. Disagreement reveals emotional depth. Financial strain reveals responsibility. And unmet expectations reveal maturity. You do not test a bridge after cars begin crossing it. You test it before. The same is true of marriage, or the same is true for marriage rather. Now, I'd like to share a story for us to understand this deeper. Terry and Michael, they were deeply in love. Everyone admired their connection. They laughed easily, they traveled well together, they prayed together, but they had never experienced real conflict. Everything had been smooth. Then came a season of career uncertainty. Michael lost a major opportunity. He became withdrawn, frustrated, short-tempered. And what was Terry's reaction? She started panicking. Instead of stabilizing, they both reacted emotionally. That season did not create weakness. It exposed it. The weakness was already there. And exposure is not failure. Exposure is information. That's where a lot of people miss it. When they discover a blind spot, they begin to feel they failed. No. What you discover before marriage is a gift. What you ignore before marriage becomes a burden inside marriage. So between 25 and 34 especially, many people avoid testing seasons. They say, I don't want drama. I don't want stress. But growth that has never been tested is still theoretical. Readiness is proven under strain. Can you both stay respectful when disappointed? Can you? Can you both stay stable when uncertain? Can you both remain kind when misunderstood? These are not questions. These are not small questions. These are covenant questions. If you cannot answer these questions now, it's not too late. It's time to reevaluate. Now let's move into something deeper. Shared growth. Shared growth is powerful, but shared values are foundational, because you can grow in different directions. Two people can mature individually and still discover they want different futures. This is why alignment conversations are not optional. They are essential, not surface conversation, deep ones. How do we view money? How do we handle money? How do we handle extended family? What roles does faith actually play in our daily decisions? What does leadership look like? What does partnership look like? How do we define respect? How do we define submission? How do we define responsibility? Because marriage does not erase differences. No, it doesn't. It magnifies them. So alignment must be discovered early, not assumed. So when you keep assuming he was supposed to talk like this, she's supposed to talk like this, they're supposed to act like this, you will miss it. You have to discuss it. Now, let me tell you another story. Aisha and her boyfriend. They never had argument. They never discussed long-term expectation. And Aisha, the lady, assumed relocation was possible. But Daniel assumed it was not. Now, Aisha assumed shared financial structure, but Daniel assumed independence. The two of them love each other deeply, but assumptions are not agreements. When engagement discussions began, conflict erupted. Not because they were wrong for each other, but because they were unclear with each other. So they've never discussed these things and agree on what should work for them. Clarity does not resent. Now let's talk about sustainability. Attraction can begin a relationship. Compatibility can continue it. But sustainability requires discipline. Marriage is daily, not dramatic, not cinematic. Daily. So it is ordinary consistency. Ordinary daily life showing up daily. So ask yourself, can we sustain respect in routine? Can we maintain communication when life becomes repetitive? Can we remain committed when excitement fades? When the butterflies are no longer there? The ones you were looking for before you enter the relationship. Because excitement always, underline the word, always fades. But character must remain. Now, there's something else many singles do not consider. Individual identity. If you lose yourself to maintain a relationship, you are not preparing for marriage. We've said that in our previous session, especially under leadership and submission. You are preparing for dependency. Marriage requires two whole people, not two halves seeking completion. You must know, who am I? What do I believe? What do I value? What are my non-negotiables? What are my growth areas? Self-awareness protects covenant. It is confusion that complicates it. I need you to put that down in the comment section. Self-awareness protects covenant. Confusion complicates it. Now let's address fear. Some people stay too long because they fear starting over. Others leave too quickly because they fear vulnerability. Both reactions are fear-driven. Readiness is not fear-based, it is clarity-based. If staying requires shrinking, that is not readiness. If living requires growth, that's maturity. So peace is a better indicator than panic. As you approach marriage age, the pressure can increase. Societal expectation, family, peers, social media. The pressure can increase. Cultural timelines, comparison with peers. But covenant should never be entered to silence pressure. It should be entered with conviction. Marriage is not an escape from loneliness. It is not. They are tired of waking up, eating alone, sleeping alone. Marriage is an expansion of responsibility. If you are not stable alone, marriage will not stabilize you. It will stretch you. Let's bring this together. Over these few minutes we've been talking, we have moved from structure to development, to testing, to alignment, to sustainability. Now, the final question is simple. Are you becoming someone who can sustain covenant, not just enter it? Sustain it. Because the wedding is a day. Marriage is decades, lifetime. And decades require depth. Let me leave you with this reflection. If nothing changes in your character over the next year, are you closer to readiness? If nothing improves in your discipline, are you stronger for partnership? If nothing deepens in your emotional maturity, are you prepared for shared life? These questions are not meant to discourage you. They are meant to prepare you. You need to look deeper. Who are you accountable to? What are your preparation plans? What are your growth plans? You need to analyze your relationship deeper. Now, let me say something very honestly. Information is powerful. But information without implementation changes nothing. Absolutely nothing. So you can listen to this teaching, you can take notes, you can even feel inspired. But if there is no structure around your growth, you will drift back into old patterns. And you know, drifting is subtle, very subtle. You don't know when you drift. You don't wake up and decide to waste your years. Have you ever decided that? No. You simply avoid hard conversations, delay important decisions, enter relationships without clarity, stay where you are not growing, and you drift. And before you know it, 3 years have passed. That is why accountability must live inside structure. Growth must be supported. Maturity must be guided. That is the reason intentional family practice exists. Not as another online group, not as a motivational content, but as a structured mentorship environment for singles who are serious about marriage. So this is for those who understand that love is not enough. Capacity matters. Alignment matters. Emotional intelligence matters. Spiritual stability matters. Inside the intentional family practice mentorship, we do not just talk about relationships. No, we don't. We engineer them. We examine patterns. We challenge avoidance. We strengthen decision making. We build emotional maturity. We teach discernment. We develop relational skill. Because we understand that marriage is not sustained by excitement. It is sustained by preparation. If you're especially between the age of 25 and 34, this is your defining decade. I'm very particular about this age. I already told you why. This is where you either build intentionally or you recover painfully later. And I say that with love. You do not need pressure, but you need direction. You need a community where growth is expected, avoidance is confronted, clarity is pursued, And accountability is normal. We normalize accountability in intentional family practice. That is what this mentorship provides. A safe but stretching environment. A guided path, not random advice. A growth framework, not emotional dependency. Because the goal is not just to get married. No. The goal is to sustain covenant. And that requires development. So if you listened to this session and something in you said, I need structure, I need guidance, I don't want to drift, I want to prepare properly, then this is your next step. Join us inside Intentional Family Practice Mentorship. Do not wait for crisis. Do not wait for heartbreak. Do not wait until you are confused. Build before you break. Prepare before you promise. Develop before you decide. The link is in the description box. So if you're serious about becoming marriage ready, not just marriage desiring, not just I am willing to marry, then I will see you inside. Let's move from information to intentional formation. See you in that program.